Every city has its trouble spots for speeding, but not enough officers to cover them all.
It's no different in Lee's Summit, but what is different there is how they're getting people to slow down. Zach Tecklenburg is live along 50 Highway to explain the new technique. Zach?
Yeah, you guys mentioned trouble spots, and here in Lee's Summit, 50 Highway is one of them, and it's where they're putting one of their newest officers to work. But this officer isn't like the rest.
Even on a day when weather cancels classes in Lee's Summit, drivers are still speeding along 50 Highway.
65, 70, 80.
Alfred Keller has a front row seat to the speeders. He says it never stops.
Late at night, you get people speeding up and down the highway, see how fast they can go, do the speed signs.
That's why 50 Highway is a focus for a recent addition to the Lee's Summit Police Department.
Obviously, we can't put an officer everywhere where one's needed for a speed complaint.
So they have Officer Huff. She's never written a ticket, and unlike her living and breathing coworkers, she is a mannequin.
Anytime we can reduce speed, it's going to have that effect of reducing crashes.
Lee's Summit averages around 300 traffic-related injuries a year and a handful of deaths. Officer Chris Depew says the mere presence of a police car and its plastic occupant is enough to slow drivers down.
They might put a real officer there one day, the decoy 2 or 3 other days, then back to a real officer.
Depew says when actual officers follow the mannequin, they've noticed that they're writing fewer tickets. He says that's ultimately what the department and people living near the speeding hotspots want.
To slow things down, have more patrol cars instead of speed signs.
And if they can't have an officer out there in the flesh, police say Officer Huff is the next best thing.
And the mannequin sits in the same spot for no more than 6 hours at a time. Police say they move it around to different streets and highways based on the kind of complaints they're getting about speed. And they say that they'll use this method for as long as it's effective. We're live in Lee's Summit tonight. Zach Tecklenburg, NBC Action News.